Let me say at the outset that I have not seen the movie Pathaan. I might see it later. This episode is not a review of the movie Pathaan. It is rather a review of some very troubling questions that have been raised of our principal minority in the country vis-a-vis the movie Pathaan. A senior journalist, Shekhar Gupta, in his wisdom, linked the success of the movie with, to quote him, the return of the Muslim, unquote. Now, he did not elaborate where the Muslim had vanished all these years. And he was not alone in linking a kind of resurgence of the Muslim identity with the success of the movie Pathaan. Twitter is inundated with prominent liberals and Modi haters in the country who feel the movie's success is a kind of slap in the faces of right-wing saffron forces and troll armies in the country. You get the sense from them that more than Rahul Gandhi and Kejriwal, it is Shah Rukh really who has restored the pride of Muslims in the country and sent the troll armies of the right scurrying for cover. In short, we have an unbelievable narrative unfolding in the country where a movie has become the solution, a kind of panacea to all the problems that Muslims face in the country. I will expand on this theme some more, but first let me extend a warm welcome to all viewers of the CAA show. CAA, as all of you know, is Conversations and Analysis, and my name is Juggi Bhasin. To watch this video podcast, press the big red subscriber button on your screen, and subscription is of course completely free. Now, I have news for people who are raving about the film as deliverance for the ordinary Muslim. Firstly, the social conditions and economic situation of the ordinary Muslim has not moved an inch up or down after the film's release. It stands where it was before the release. Secondly, on the issue of Muslim identity, the film might end up confusing the young, impressionable Muslim mind a bit more than before. And in terms of who gained and who lost after the movie, then let me make it clear. SRK has certainly gained and resurrected his career. And in a very weird way, the ordinary Muslim might end up losing more after this release. The Bollywood boycott network on Twitter has also certainly lost, and so will the LLS of our country, that is, loser liberals. I will now expand on these points a bit more. A Muslim identity becomes powerful not by jumping on trucks on the big screen or pulverizing powerful villains again on the screen. A film is illusion, end of the day. A powerful identity is created by increasing one's economic stature, heft, and clout in society. There is no other way. It is hard, boring work and effort, and not at all glamorous like SRK and Deepika Padukone romancing on the screen. The boring work must be done by ordinary people, of course, in part helped by citizen-friendly schemes, which means the addition of every new subsidized cooking gas cylinder or a tap that brings in clean water or a bank account that facilitates easy transfer of funds adds to the economic heft of the individual and raises his or her economic profile. It is boring, unglamorous effort, but it is the only way. The present government is doing that for Muslims and Hindus alike. Unlike previous governments or previous dispensations in the country which made a song and dance of being Muslim-friendly governments, giving them the big talk every day that they stood for secularism and inter-community unity. And all that while, the Muslims continue to slide down on all economic parameters. Socially backward practices took a hideous control of their societies, and a spate of communal rioting occurred with clockwork regularity. And not much else. But the sun was shining in the sky and the world was secular those days. That was, in a sense, Muslim identity for you then, back then. And the only people who benefited during those times were the Bhai Muslim heroes, the clutch of Muslim friendly intellectuals who landed with all kinds of lodges and contracts and business class freebie trips. Well, all the time, the social parameters of the ordinary Muslim went down, down, and further down. The success of the movie Pathaan then, in a sense, brings back that old narrative. SRK earns millions. His career is resurrected. But what about the Muslim identity that everyone is making a song and dance about? The Muslim identity, especially for the impressionable young Muslim mind, will become more confusing, a caricature of impossible situations, like an Indian raw agent romancing a Pakistani ISI agent. It is the depiction of this pan-Muslim identity that creates problems for the ordinary young Muslims in our country. The subtext of the movie is that Pakistanis are our brothers, their ISI a benevolent service. Really? Is that real in any sense of the word? What is the message we are giving to the young Muslim? Will he make more efforts to join the national mainstream or be alienated from it? I think we all know the answer. And that is why I say the filmmakers of such films, the actors who act in such dramas, the liberal community who support such efforts serve only their own self-interest and the rest be damned. Of course, one can enjoy a film as a fantasy or maybe even a spoof, like the teaming up of Raw and ISI agents. That would be quite alright. But the liberals saw to it, and even the makers of the film ensured we view the film as a serious case of Muslim assertion and identity in an era of right-wing dominance. The play on the colors saffron and green in the Besharam song was not innocent. It was a ploy to attract eyeballs, create a controversy, and then wait for the cash registers to ring. That ploy and the insidious messaging of the film have, of course, completely succeeded. Muslim identity evolution is not so much hampered by right-wing domination. The subtle exploitation of their identity by cynical filmmakers like the one I have mentioned before are really part of the larger problem the young Muslim has to contend with. And so on this note, I come to the end of this episode of the CAA show. I hope you really enjoyed this particular episode. And if you like our show, do subscribe to us. And on this note, it's goodbye and cheers from my end.